Having just celebrated its 15th year anniversary, the Fate series is one of the most iconic in anime history, spawning numerous anime, light novels, video games, and of course figures. But because of the sheer number of titles in the series, it can be a little difficult for newcomers to get into. But don't worry, I got you. In this video, I'm going to give you what I believe is the best way to get into the Fate series in 2024. So for starters, the definitive way to get into the Fate series is and will always be the Stay Night visual novel. It is a long read, but you can take your time and knock it out over a week or so. I promise you won't regret it. While the sprites do show their age a little bit, they still have a lot of charm, and the story is more than enough to make up for it. Plus, the newer Real to Nua release has some updated visuals. When it comes to watching an anime adaptation of a visual novel, you're always going to lose something. It's impossible to cram 100 hours of world building into a TV anime, so even the very best of Stay Night adaptations are missing a lot. If you can't play the visual novel or just don't have the attention span for it, that's an L, but understandable. In terms of anime, there's been a big debate between watching Fate Zero first or Unlimited Blade Works first. I'm going to go full libertarian and say that both sides are wrong. Fate Zero is a prequel light novel written by Urobuchi Gen, who of course wrote Madoka Magica among other things, and is meant to be consumed after you've read the original visual novel, as it casually spoils some of the biggest twists in Stay Night. Unlimited Blade Works is the second root of the visual novel, has its own flaws, but on the whole is pretty good. The reason these two get recommended so much is they're both done by Ufotable and have amazing animation and visuals. Unlimited Blade Works in particular is some of the best TV animation you'll see, but that's not the intended order of the story. All the roots are supposed to build on the last, so you really should start with the Fate root, Unlimited Blade Works, and then Heaven's Feel trilogy. The Fate root adaptation is from 2006 by Dean, and despite its dated art and wonky animation, this remains my favorite Fate Stay Night anime. Yes, I am biased because Artoria is my top waifu ever, but I also just think it had a charm that the newer, higher production quality ones lack. I think it's the only one that comes close to capturing the feeling of the original visual novel with the slice of life moments and general vibe. Not to mention the amazing OST and that amazing finale episode. Yeah, it does kind of mix some elements of the other two roots in, but you won't know that they're from those roots until you finish the series as a whole, and you really won't feel spoiled. I personally started out with this one and I didn't feel spoiled or have my experience ruined when watching Unlimited Blade Works or Heaven's Feel at all. I think it's one of those things like how manga or light novel readers will say an opening has spoilers, but you don't know they're spoilers if you haven't read ahead. And despite the historical revisionism online, Fate 2006 was very well received when it was released, and to this day, Ufotable have said that they respect Dean's work and have no desire for a remake. Without this one, there would not be the others, so definitely check it out. Like I said, after watching Fate 06, you'd go into Unlimited Blade Works and then the Heaven's Feel film trilogies, which are definitely visual spectacles, but leave a lot to be desired adaptation-wise. After that, then I'd watch Fate Zero. And that's it, you've watched Stay Night. Now at this point, you're probably wondering where this hot girl is, or this one, and those, my friends, would be the spin-offs. Now with the spin-offs, with the exception of Fate Grand Order, which is based on the gacha game, you can really watch them in whatever order you want. You definitely want to have seen or read Stay Night before going into them because many of them reference concepts from the original, but they are for the most part their own things. The big exception being Prisma Ilia, which is a magical girl spin-off about Ilia and in my opinion the best Type Moon story. This one does have a release order to watch in since it's multiple seasons. The FGO anime starts with the First Order OVA, which is basically the game's prologue, and then it gets a little weird because they didn't adapt every singularity from the game. They had a popularity contest and Camelot and Babylonia got chosen for anime. Babylonia is Singularity 7 while Camelot is 5, but Babylonia came out first, so it gets a little confusing. You can watch them either way, but now that Camelot's movies are fully out, I would watch that one first since it technically came first in the story. And hopefully we get to see the Lost Belts adapted someday too, which are part 2 of the FGO story that's currently ongoing. I'm doing my best to fund an anime adaptation with all these figures I'm buying, that's for sure. Then you have stuff like Carnival Phantasm, which is a kind of all-star meetup for Type Moon. You have Amiya Gohan, which is a slice-of-life spin-off story from Stay Night. The Case Files of El Malloy, which is about Waver from Fate Zero. Fate Extra, Last Encore, Fate Apocrypha, Fate Strange Fake, and Fate Prototype, which you can watch whenever you want. There's also spin-off manga and light novels like Redline and Requiem, and many, many more. This is one of the most successful and profitable franchises for a reason. The impact it's had on otaku culture in general can't be overstated. I can't recommend it enough if you're a fan of mature storytelling. I know it can seem a little bit intimidating on the outside looking in, but hopefully this video puts you at ease a little bit and motivated you to get into the series. Now that takes care of the Fate series, but the Type Moon franchise has a lot more. There's Tsukahime, which is about vampires, mages, and has a story that in my opinion rivals Stay Night. It famously has no anime, so don't go looking for one, and just recently got a remake, so it has updated visuals and sprites, and is just an amazing playthrough. Then there's the Kara no Kyokai movies, which have one of the greatest protagonists of all time in Ryoki Shiki. These can be watched in release order. After you do release order, you can watch them in chronological order because some of the movies take place a little bit out of order, but for a first time viewing, release order is fine. There's also Kanon, which is actually the first project that Kinko Nasu worked on back in the day. Sadly, it doesn't get nearly as much love as Fate and Tsukihime, but is well worth checking out. Then there's The Witch on the Holy Night. This is connected to Tsukihime and is a prequel to that. It also just got a Steam release, so if you want to check that out and support it so we get more official releases, that's a very good idea. I know it seems like a lot, but pretty much release order works for all of that stuff. If you made it to the end of the video, you're goated. Appreciate the support, and I hope I was able to put y'all on some peak. The Type Moon franchise has some of the best writing I've ever consumed and continues to be a cash cow for a good reason. Your waifu is waiting for you somewhere in this franchise. Don't miss out. Thanks for watching, y'all, and I will see y'all on the next one.